Noise.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Passing for Perfect with Cora and Cognition. It's been a minute. It's been some downtime, but we're back. It's been
A few weeks
a few weeks for you.
for me.
I've been here. But we're back. I want to thank y'all for joining us on Passing for Perfect on this beautiful April spring Monday. We got about 3 weeks of stuff to talk about. I don't think we're going to talk about all 3 weeks of it today, but it ain't even possible. So what you want to start with today?
Well, today I just wanted to say hello, everybody. I miss sitting up chatting with everybody and seeing what everybody has to say. So what we've had, the Derek Jackson debacle go on. We've had a few things. We've had more with Deion Sanders and JSU and the SWAC and the things happening with that. We've had a lot pop off with the Derek Chauvin trial.
Well, day
And
11?
It's 11, day 11 for the Derek Chauvin trial, if anybody's watching.
I feel like it should be over. Like, prosecution should rest their case and just keep it moving.
Let the defense come on in and do what they're going to do. They're kind of debating on whether or not to put him on the stand or if he's going to get on the stand.
Put him on.
They say he's probably going to get on the stand. So far, shockingly enough, if you haven't been paying attention to the trial, or maybe, I know I've just realized that a lot of people still to this day hadn't actually seen the video, like they avoided looking at the video of that murder. I'm just going to call it a murder.
It is what it is. Call it what it is.
And
speak truth in
we
life.
didn't know that the man actually they were on him for over 9 minutes.
Yeah, the video that we all saw shows what 8:46.
8 minutes and some change, and that was because that was from the public. So the public didn't start recording right away. The first bystander so far that I've seen was actually an older man, and so he didn't begin recording. It was kind of the younger generation that popped up and started recording a little bit later on. So we've gotten to see like the street camera and what the actual dispatcher was seeing, and that the dispatcher even called the higher up lieutenant that worked there because she's watching it and she's like, wait a minute, this is not right. Like,
yes,
something's not right with what I'm looking at. Like, so it's been a lot of details about this happening that has come out that I had no idea. I mean, I watched the initial video, I believe, on the day it happened. And that was enough for me. I didn't keep watching it and everything, but I have been interested in the trial. Someone else wasn't so interested.
And I'm still not. I'm just peeping in here and there when I can, just to keep up, just to see the buffoonery that's going to go on in this trial. And I've been right. I've been right. Like, it has to be extremely hard as a defense attorney to watch some of this stuff, get the evidence, the video, and try to figure out or manipulate a defense for your defendant. Like it's like, how do you sleep at night? That's my point. That's why I am with it. That's how I feel about it. Everybody may not agree. I mean, some people are legitimately like, when you have experts on the stand that are telling you, like, this did not cause the death. The drug levels weren't high enough for the situation. Yes, the drugs were a part of it, but if this man did those drugs at home alone in his house and he'd be alive today. It's basically what the was it the medical examiner or
every medical person pretty much so far that
the toxologist, the cardiologist, the pulmonologist, everybody. Like, it's at this point, it's like, at the very least, negligent homicide. They're going for second-degree murder, so
they got the different counts.
At the very least, negligent homicide. At the very least.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of, and then with the Chauvin trial going on, there was another death of a young man in Minnesota again, just yesterday, day before yesterday, right down the street from the courthouse. So the defense attorney is now trying to get the judge to allow them to sequester the jury because they don't want the jury, to see all that's about to pop off now with this new accidental death. And I mean, I guess it is an accidental death because he yelled taser, but he shot the young kid. It's a 20-year-old young man, and he yelled taser, but pulled a gun. So I'm sorry. So it's so much that's about to go on in Minnesota. And
what kind of training are they doing in Minnesota?
Like, they have it, but they don't they couldn't scare people.
The craziness about this, after the Philando Castro situation.
Castile.
Why did I say Castro? I'm trying to take us to Cuba or something. I'm somewhere else. And after that, Minnesota invested $10 million in police training.
Yes.
And we've seen
another young man.
Two more, basically.
Yeah.
Two more killings after they invested $10 million in police training.
So we had Philando Castile. We had George Floyd. Like, these are the major things we saw. We don't know what else have gone on that maybe didn't hit the nationwide news.
Fact.
Then we have two other deaths, including the one that just happened, that they're saying they're praying for the family and everything, and they're praying for with this tragic death that did not, this accidental death. Yeah, it may have been accidental, and maybe she didn't mean to pull her gun, but exactly what type of training do you have going on? Well, you don't know your gun from your taser.
Hey, we have a commenter saying it's a different grip from the taser and the pistol. I mean, they're on different sides. One's on the left, one's on the right. I mean,
maybe she put a belt on backwards.
This is a senior officer. Like, this isn't a rookie, nervous, just And then we have, on top of that, this happened back in December. The cop got fired yesterday or today with the lieutenant, the military officer who they
he's in his uniform, the one
in his military uniform, who they mishandled, who they've told me 1,000 times that kneeling was about the military and supporting the military, and it's disrespectful. And here the cops are out here being just as, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, there has to be a better way of policing. Like, period. There has to be some outside entity that's over these police departments, because at this point, I mean, I gotta know how I feel about the police officer. Police started.
The federal government. It's time for the federal government to step in and run some
police
nationwide criteria that every police department needs to adhere to. And, you branch out from that according to your towns and cities, according to the crime in those areas and things of that nature. But there needs to be some nationwide criteria that every police department has to adhere to. So when some of this stuff happens, it shouldn't be, Minnesota law, Louisiana law. We got some states that are, what's it called? The stand your ground. Some states are not, it needs to get to the point at this day and age where the federal government says, as far as anybody that has a badge, this is the standard.
Criteria. This is the standard.
Right. This is the standard. At least this.
We also have to dig deeper, because we know policing started
Right.
for slavery.
Right.
Like it was started to round up slaves. And to this point, some people still see
free people.
See
not slaves.
Black folks as slaves. No, they were free slaves. They still was free black slave people. Yeah. Newly freed slaves. You know. I mean, and there's still people in the police department who see and think that's their role when it comes dangerous to police.
And the thing is
especially in our communities.
It's just that our kids, it's really hard to say to your children. It's hard, like last year before last few years, we've been having that conversation about how do you sit your sons, these black sons down, and have the conversation about when you get pulled over or when you're out with your friends, and you know what your group of friends represent to the police and how you should handle yourself when you're out and about. And it's getting to the point where that conversation is really not even of consequence, like, because stuff is still happening to our kids and they're doing the things that they're supposed to do. So like they talked about passive resistance in the trial, and then there's active resistance, you know. So passive resistance, George Floyd, literally, I watched this man having a panic attack. He told, like, I did not know, because now I've seen that body cam footage from all of the officers.
All officers from beginning to end. And it's like, it becomes traumatizing after a while after you've seen it.
What if you haven't been watching and aren't aware, the first officer on the scene, they were called to the scene for someone passing a fraudulent $20 bill, and they were told that he seemed like he was may have been on something. So they come to the scene with that in mind. So I give it credit to the police officers that they know that they're approaching somebody who might not quite be in their right mind or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, you're trained for this. Okay, this is your training. So the first officer to go up to the car immediately pulled his gun. They counted it within 13 seconds of showing up on the scene. George Floyd is in his car. And he's not even realizing the police are coming up on the car. And the first thing you do, because he's not responding to you while you're talking to him with the windows up, the door is closed, and you're saying, hey, whatever the case may be, and his back is turned.
He doesn't even see you walk up to the car.
Pull the gun because he's not listening to you. And then talk about, my God, what is this guy on? What is he on?
I'm on. Somebody walked up to my car and tapped on my window. The next thing I see is a gun. On top of the fact that the man has been shot in the same situation.
And he begins to tell the people that, like, man, please don't shoot me, please don't kill me. And he's like, all right, man, I ain't gonna kill you, I ain't gonna shoot you. And he put the gun away. But by this time, you triggered this man. He's triggered.
PTSD then kicked in at this point.
I watched that man have a full-on panic attack. And if I, as a civilian, can sit and look and see someone having a panic attack because he's literally saying, please, I can't go in the back of that car. Just put me on the ground. I sit on the ground. Just put me on the ground. I can't go in the back of that car. I'm claustrophobic. Please don't put me back there.
How many times
if you can see it,
the police,
why can't you see it?
8 of us sitting on the ground in handcuffs,
right,
doing what they do.
Right.
Like there was, even when you get to that point, if you want to consider that resistance, fine, okay, whatever.
Right.
Once you put him in a car and you saw he was panicking, he's asking, man, just put me on the ground. Let me sit on the ground. Just put him on the ground.
You can't get a fraudulent $20 bill that you have no proof he created the bill. It's just,
you don't even have real proof he passed it.
Right. All you know is
because he'd already gotten changed for something else that you could have given me that 20.
Right.
The guy who was with him in the car had been in the store and gotten changed. So they made a transaction. Who knows where the 20 comes from? There's no reason to think he initially went in there to intentionally pass a fake 20. And even if he did,
it was $20.
It was $20. Send him back in the store with a real $20, reimburse the people at the bank, at the store, and keep it moving. Like, this is so much de-escalation that could have gone on. Even in the video, the guy who he gave the 20 to was like, man, don't worry about it. I'll take it. I'll pay it out of my money. And then the owner runs outside all gung-ho over a $20 bill that his employers already said, I'll pay for it. Don't worry about it. You know, and now he feels bad because he feels like his actions led to this death. Because if he would have just let his employee pay the $20 and kept it moving, this never happens.
Well, no, this is the employee who actually was saying, if I wouldn't have told my manager about the $20, then this wouldn't have happened. The manager has yet to that I have heard, you know, express any word remorse. So, or maybe they are remorseful, who knows, but I haven't heard anything from that particular person. But that goes to, one, we keep on patronizing businesses that don't give a damn about us in our neighborhoods. They don't care, you know, because it was $20. It was $20. The guy had already said, don't worry about it. Just put it on my tab and I'll take care of it out of my paycheck. So that really should have squashed it right then and there. It's $20. So $20 may be a lot of money to some, but you're a store owner. You're going to make that money back. Your employee has already said, I'll cover it. Don't worry about it. You know, why?
A hood store, they had already overcharged somebody today.
They had already charged $10 for a 4-pack of tissue. So, you know, the money was already made. But that goes to, again, the stuff that we as a community need to get together on and stick to these things. We have a lot of people that's always with us. Well, y'all do what y'all want to do. I ain't doing nothing. That's fine. That's all fine and good until it's knocking at your front door. And that's just how I feel about that. It's all good until it's one of your loved ones.
And then you want everybody to be a part of this.
We got to come to the fish fry. We got to pray with you. We got to come out to the candlelight vigil and the balloon release and wear a t-shirt and all this other stuff.
I'm not buying t-shirts. I'm not fish frying with you. I'm gonna pray for you. You that part I'm gonna do. Yeah. I'm gonna pray for you. Yeah. And if it's something within reason that I can help with, I will. But at some point, we as a community have to start supporting each other better and start taking control of our communities. It's a lot that goes on that we sit back and we wait on somebody else to fix problems in our own community. Yeah. And it's not realistic. Nobody's coming to save us. Right. In the mind state that you were thinking.
500 years.
Like, no one's coming and save the Black community. Not in the thought process of what people are thinking, that somebody's about to just come clean up the community, drop $500,000 in everybody's bank account, and it's gonna be all well. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't about to get $500.
That's not about to happen. And until we start policing and taking care of our own neighborhoods, this is going to continue to happen.
What's going on in the comments? We see somebody got a nice sizable comment over there. But
you're right.
Let's read it. It's
a comment says, what happened with the taser could have been an accident. And it genuinely could have been.
Yeah.
But with, like you said, with hundreds of unarmed Black men and women who've been killed, your training and skills on the job should be that much greater, which makes accidents harder to bear, which is true. All the things that have happened in the community, as a police officer, your first mindset should always be de-escalation. Like even with the George Floyd situation, this was escalated instead of de-escalated. When this man says he has claustrophobia, he can't get in the back of that small car, he can't breathe, it's a $20 bill. You have no real information on what's going on other than his name. You have two people who are in it, and you think he's high.
That to me
That's even
was
more
what
reason.
they were reacting to. They weren't reacting to the $20 bill call. They
But
were
that's
reacting to
that's even
they
more
thought
reason.
he was high.
That's even more reason for your training to kick in. You know, people who are high have a wild up. They're high strung. At this point, you have him handcuffed. You have him sitting on the ground. He's answering your questions.
And he's calm.
Right. So what was the reasoning behind all of a sudden want to throw him in the police car? It's 2 officers out there and you have officers en route.
Right.
What's the point? What is it gonna hurt you in your day to sit him on the ground, ask the questions, do all the investigating you need to do when you let 2 people who were in the car with him leave the scene, and one of them has already told you that he's been shot before. He's panicking. He's under a panic attack. They're telling you this.
Right. It's just, I mean, I understand that we have our rotten apples, and we do. You know, we got a lot of those. But the majority of our community is not rotten. So the thing to do now for us as a community, I think, is we've had the conversation with our kids, you know, but who's having the conversation with the parents? Like, when do we as parents start talking to one another and say, it's time for us as parents to do more, be more active in our young adult kids' lives? Like, why do we let our young adults do so much? You know, when I was 19, my mama dang near still had a handle on me when I was 19 years old. My mama could still tell me what to do, period. You know what I'm saying? When I was 18, 19 years old. Parents. Yeah, you're grown. And a lot of these parents have hit to the point where you're 18, that's, you know, like they done. They did their job. They finished raising you. And that is the furthest thing from the truth.
When you're 18, it's the I'm grown. They're grown. Put them out. Send them on their way. I'm tired of dealing with them. That's a
generational curse.
It's also the child support stigma. The dad's not in the home. Okay, the child's 18. I don't have to pay child support anymore. He's not, he or she is not really my responsibility anymore. Right. And that's the mindset. And you have younger parents. Parents are younger now. And not as involved. You have more parents. Even in 2-parent households, it's not where it was 40, 50 years ago when both parents are working, gone. A lot of these kids are raising themselves. You have financial situations, single parent homes, where mothers are working 2 and 3 jobs trying to take care of kids. And you have the oldest child taking care of the younger children, and father's not involved. It's a process that starts with it's a process that started decades ago that now you're really seeing the
end result. Yeah.
The end result of this process. The seeds that were sown way back then.
It started back to me with the baby who was cussing and we thought it was cute.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's time now. We need to backtrack as adults. And you need to grab your friend. I need to grab my friend or whatever else when we see certain things going on and be like, look, we have gone some decades now with a lot of foolery. And it's time for us to snatch back and then retract and go back to some times where we had a better handle on our community. When Miss Ethel down the street was able to tell my kid, look, little boy.
We posted that.
You know what I'm saying? So we're getting away, or we have gotten away from all of that. And now we got parents that hang out in clubs and smoke and drink with the kids and, you know, all these different things that go on to the point where
it's to the extreme.
They're feeding a stereotype big time. And then people are now dying in the streets behind the stereotype being fed. And that's my view on it. We got Fight Club videos floating all over the place. Like, this is cute. You got parents, taking the children to go fight somebody and all this stuff. They got kids stabbing each other in Walmart.
And it's crazy because people now are trying to say this is the social media generation, that everything is instant access, is everything is right now in your face right now.
Yeah.
The difference is, like, this just didn't just start with these kids. Like, there's a generation, the generation before you fails the generation after you.
Right.
So if you, as parents, and I've said this, and I call a lot of parents in our age group, in our generation, I call us some punk ass parents, because we have failed a generation of our kids by trying not to be our parents,
right,
by trying not to instill the stuff in our kids that made us who we are,
right,
who made us successful, who gave us the ability to be successful, to strive, to fight through adversity.
Right.
These kids don't understand conflict resolution. They don't know how to get through adversity. They don't know how to do anything that's not given to them. And it's not all kids. I mean, it's enough of them to where everybody feels entitled. And like this comment says, we can't do anything as a community. We don't consider ourselves a collective community.
Right.
One of the problems is some black people don't consider the black community their community. And that's bananas to me. Then what is your community? Like, if you are black,
because we got the new black people, that they got money and they feel removed from the struggle that some of us go through. Like, they'll never have that struggle. They're not a part of that. So, we've had some celebrities actually utter those words. They are so far removed from that, they don't feel connected to it. They feel like they've gotten where they need to be and they don't have to deal with that. But I watched Pharrell from the Neptunes deliver comments at his cousin's funeral, who was recently killed by police. And he was one of the celebrities that said those words. I'm one of the new black. What the hell is the new black? Like, when did we get that? Like, cause last I checked, them folks still calling us niggas, and niggas been around for a long time, and they calling your new black self a nigga still.
You still a nigga.
So I don't understand how we develop these attitudes that we develop, and I don't understand, when are we going to decide as a community, like the commenter said, as a whole, that enough is enough with the foolishness, and we need to check one another. We need to check our cousins, because what is killing us in the streets, literally, the police. Don't think for one moment that the police as a unit, these authority figures and all, don't see these videos and then sit down and shoo about us. And then when they come out in the street to have to deal with one of us, this is the imagery that they already have in their head. And it could be a lawyer that they're approaching at a traffic stop. It could be a business person, an entrepreneur. It could be somebody who's actually just on the street but have never been in trouble a day in their life. But the imagery that is out there already about us is a bunch of bull.
And the problem I have with it, the media, Hollywood, and all of the media outlets already present us in a negative, aggressive, dangerous light. The last thing we need to do is feed it and continue to enhance those stereotypes.
Yeah.
Like one commenter said, she's not even talking about the rich people who moved out of the community. You have people who live in that community who feel like they don't care. Like, it ain't my community. You live on your street, this street. Like, this is your street. This is your community. This is where you live. Right. What happens here matters to you and your kids. It should. What happens to to your neighbor next door to you should matter.
It should.
Because when it happens to your neighbor, that's just one doorstep away from it being at your doorstep. It's one 6 feet away from it being your house.
Mm-hmm. And I have a 19-year-old daughter, and I have a 13-year-old daughter. They
for sale. Both
talking
of them.
to y'all. We have. But unfortunately, my 13-year-old daughter is only a few years removed from the 19-year-old daughter, but they're growing up and they literally have two different outlooks on how they're growing up right now. My 13-year-old is in the TikTok, YouTube video. This is the age she's in, and they are like these kids in that age range. Like if you took the phone from them, they would probably dry out, like and just curl up in a ball somewhere and die. It would just be, look, okay. The 19-year-old, however, she is the reality TV children, and these kids are trying to mimic the foolishness that they see. Like that's for real life. Like these people live like this every day. Like we have so many images out there about us. It's time us as a community start holding one another accountable and say you are a part of the problem. The racists aren't the only people who are part of the problem. Some of us are upholding and just letting we're desensitizing some things,
Candace Owens,
that we don't need to desensitize, because it's feeding into the imagery that's making the other people handle all of us a certain kind of way.
And I say this all the time. It started with these participation trophies with these children, and not making kids understand hard work, that everybody's not a winner. Everybody doesn't deserve accolades without the hard work. Like we created a generation of kids that think all I have to do is show up and you owe me something.
Right.
Like if I show up, I've done my part. So you give me whatever it is that I should get for showing up. It's crazy, because just watching the different attitudes when it comes to even our kids. Mm-hmm. Like we're a blended family. For those of you who know us, and those of you who are just watching us on the podcast or listening in, we're a blended family. We have 5 kids, 3 girls, 2 boys, ranging from 20, don't make me do the math, 27, 28 to 13. Yeah. And just in those different ages, you can see the difference in
generation,
how much different those generations are. And they all, like, it's unreal. The things that have happened that you've seen from my oldest to my youngest, there's some narratives that haven't changed. Like we're still viewed as less than, we're still seen as dangerous, but it's just now the mindset of one child, the older kids are like, I gotta work, I gotta go get it. The younger children are like, if I show up, I deserve it, and just seeing that happen with your kids is like, it's crazy, because you have a set of kids that are at the beginning of social media, and then you have kids who are right smack dead in the heart of it. Like that's all they know.
Yeah. I mean, I personally did not change my parenting style from my firstborn to my lastborn. I know some of us get a little lax with them last few children. You kind of lay it down because we're tired. But I never did that, because I wanted to instill the same set of values in each child and then make them responsible for those values. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just going to walk up on me, mama, daddy, whatever, and say no anything to me, and without me looking at you like I know you didn't just say that to me, because that ain't how that rock around here. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that, we have to understand there are some parents.
I blame them grandparents too, because they got soft. They soft on them grandkids. Raise your hand if you think them grandparents soft on them grandkids. Just raise your hand in the comments.
You ain't even gotta raise your hand. We already know what's up. Yeah, we see stuff that never would have happened. Like if we would have done half the stuff these grandchildren do, we would have been half dead somewhere. Like that's another conversation that has come up over the week since we've not been in. Like, with the thing with Kirk Franklin.
Who?
Kirk Franklin went hammer on his son. But we're
think
talking
we
about a
talked about
33-year-old man, you know, but people started to say that we were abused as kids. Like our parents abused us. And they did. They did.
Perhaps.
You know, perhaps they did.
But they did what they knew. They did the best thing they knew how to do.
But
now
it wasn't abuse like these parents now, though. It wasn't like they killing us, they murdering us, they beating on us for no apparent reason, leaving scars and bruises and marks and things like that. Now they did leave their whips with their switches and things like that, but it was discipline is what we were receiving. It wasn't just a beating just for no reason.
And now their parents are just beating their kids and giving them away and abandoning them and all kinds of stuff. Like, and this is a product of environments of dysfunctional families, generational curses,
and not holding one another
and not holding people accountable. Like there's at some point we have to look each other in the eye and we don't have to have these conversations in the open for everybody to see. That's another thing I hate about us. When we get ready to do something, everybody know it. If we're about to boycott, everybody knows before the boycott happens. And that's we can have these hard conversations, but we have to be able to look each other in the eye and have these hard conversations. Yeah. Like, we know the system
ain't built for us.
Is not built for us. It's been designed to be against us. We know this. Now, what are we going to do for each other within each other's community to help each other? Like, people, like, I ban myself from WFB comments. I ban myself. I don't watch them. I don't comment. I don't read them, because it was my last comment.
I be in there.
My last comment on WFB. I know y'all, we random today. This Mailbag Monday, we all over the place. We got 3 weeks worth of conversation to have in an hour and 15 minutes max. My last comment on WFB was someone was saying Baton Rouge, North Baton Rouge, 70805. They were talking about the crime rate and the killing. And the comment was like, look at them, they still up there killing each other. And my reply to them was, I'm surprised our page didn't get banned. But my reply to me was, look at them in Livingston Parish. They still smoking meth and molesting little kids. Because every time you see a child molestation or child porn, it's somebody in Livingston Parish. So there was somebody from Livingston Parish trying to throw salt at Baton Rouge, at the black community. I threw it back. I was prepared to be banned from Facebook, but it didn't happen. And I said to myself, hold up, pump your brakes. Don't let these people take you here and get off of WFB. So that's why I banned myself from WFB. But that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. The media already feeds into this drama by making us seem like we're the only people that have crime, murder, and whatever. It happens in every community. But they highlight us on the news. They highlight us in the newspaper. They make sure they show. They've even gone out of their way to say black on black crime. People get mad when I say this. There's no such thing as black on black crime. It's crime. Right. It just happens to happen. Crime is a result of your community, your area. Mm-hmm. If I don't have white people in my area, how am I gonna rob white people in my community? There's none in here. Yeah. How am I gonna get in a fight and murder someone of another race in my community if they're not in my community? Like, this is stupid. And we fall into it because I hate when our people see a cop killing, and the first thing they say, how they gonna respect us is we don't respect ourselves. We out here killing each other. Well, what are you doing to help stop the killing in your own neighborhood? All you do is move away and forget those people and throw away those same family members who are still living in those neighborhoods. But you feel like because you got a good little job, you done made a little money, and you can move to the other side of town, that your family members
Now you
that,
the new
that,
black.
that can't do it, now you the new black. You don't go back in the hood. You don't go back and help. You don't provide nothing in those communities. You don't try to reach back and help nobody. You want to hold on to all the information you have found that you have developed. Like, it's going to hurt you to pass out this information.
Right.
Knowledge is supposed to be given. Wisdom is supposed to be passed along.
Right.
And that's part of our, that's another. See, I stick with our problems because we can't do nothing about, at this point, on these levels, we can't do nothing about the systematic racism. They have to fix that. Why are you asking me what we need to do to fix racism? Racism is y'all issue, not ours. Right. Y'all need to fix it. But what I will talk about is the things that we need to do amongst each other, with each other, to improve our personal situations. Right. And I got off on a tangent, y'all. I'm sorry.
He just flipped.
I'm
a
sorry.
little bit, but it's all true though, because I was just about to say, just a second ago before you said, the person move away, they don't try to reach back and help anybody. I'm like, how many of us? Because we all know a lot of people, the welfare. They want to throw us on the welfare and all this other stuff.
Never was decided.
So, how many of us have taken the time? Because we know people who have lived their life on the system. I believe everybody knows somebody
who's rolled the system, who's robbed the system.
How many of us have stopped looking at them and shaking our heads and actually said, I can show you how to get off of this? There are those who don't want to. They doing what they gonna do, and that just is what it is. But there are those who don't know how.
And we don't try. We automatically, it drives me crazy, y'all. I'm gonna be heated. This conversation touches me, so y'all just gonna have to let me ride a little bit with this.
Check the comments first. See if somebody want to tell you something before you just flip out on everybody.
I'm sorry. I'm reading.
This the mailbag episode. You ain't even
listening. Say let me finish.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right. And she made me lose my train of thought. She threw me off, y'all. But that's my problem. We always look at each other as the enemy so much. Yeah. Now I'm gonna tell you, everybody don't want help. Everybody ain't going to the next level with you. Mm-hmm. We can't save every black person in the community.
It's not happening.
But the ones we can help, the more of them that we can educate, teach, raise up, reach back to, and give them information and provide them chances and opportunities, the better off we are. We can shrink those percentages. We can shrink those numbers on our own.
Yeah.
Like, quit looking for the great white hope to come into your neighborhood and save you. Like they say, quit looking for white Jesus to come save y'all people. There is no white Jesus. Yeah. He's not coming to save you.
Right.
So even in the Bible, even if you don't believe, even if you don't read it, you don't trust the word because you're saying it was written by man or this, that, or whatever you feel, I don't care. You know what's in your heart.
Right.
And whatever God you serve, they've given you that intuition. They've given you that discernment to know when someone is out of order, when someone is bad, when someone doesn't have your best interest at heart. So learn how to see that.
Let me say this with piggybacking on his discernment. We as black people, because we having a community talk, we said it in the post before we started. It was going to talk about the Chauvin trial and the foolishness going on there. But we wanted to bring this to our community because that Chauvin trial is a big shining light on our community and some of the things that we collectively need to fix. You know what I'm saying? But we have to stop being so judgmental.
Right.
Because we are our judge, jury, and executioner in our own community with our own people too. We point the finger so much and so often at the other side. But then as soon as something happens in the community with someone else, y'all turn y'all nose up quick and get the gossiping and talking and tweeting and Facebooking and Instagramming it and everything else. But did anybody stop and say, can I help? the situation.
Stop putting each
people
other
down and blasting everybody out for their situation because it wasn't something that caught you at that moment. Because your turn may come later on something different. You know what I'm saying?
It's like even when they're trying to talk about George Floyd's addictions, his demons, the things he fought. We need to start treating addiction as what it is, an addiction. Mm-hmm. It's a problem. It's something we should be treating we should be trying to fix it instead of criminalizing. Right. We should be trying to rehab people, trying to figure out why they are addicted to this. Some people's spirit it's an addictive spirit. They predispose to addiction. There's a lot of things in life that are hereditary. Most people who are involved in addiction grew up in a family that has a history of addiction. It's not often you see just random addicts in a family. Right. I mean, it happens here and there, but for the most part, it's a history of that in that family. It's a learned behavior. Right. We need to start teaching and teaching how to break these behaviors early in life. We need to start teaching about therapy early in life, about conflict resolution.
Therapy is okay.
Early in life.
Black folks go to therapy. Black folks need therapy. Black folks, please go get you some therapy. It's okay.
Some help. Get some help. We all need help.
And not always at the church. Thank God for pastor. Thank God for the anointing. Thank God for, all of that. But unless your pastor has a degree in clinical psychology and behavior studies and all these other things, he can pray for you and we can pray for some deliverance from some things. But he ain't gonna be able to diagnose everything and be able to break it down and show you the way a psychologist or whomever that you go to therapy wise can help you. Stop thinking, because we will church the Black community out. I love the Lord. He heard my cry and pitied every groan. I'm on the board. But guess what?
Hey, God gave doctors the ability. He gave us medicine. He gave us these other avenues to work together. Not in place of, not in spite of. It all goes together.
Right. It's like, gave you the wisdom to be used for the good of the people. So we need to be able to use all those things collectively and stop looking down on people. Stop throwing and bashing people. Stop thinking that there's only one way to be healthy. Everybody always, we went through the simp conversation. We went through the dumb, she's stupid for putting up with this, that, and the other. He's stupid for doing this, that, and the other. It's time to walk away from all those types of conversations and start reaching out to one another and trying to help. If you think she's stupid, if you think he's stupid, why don't you enlighten them?
Some people think you stupid. Why are you calling somebody else stupid? Everybody have their own vice.
They got foolish moments.
Everybody has foolish moments. Everybody has a struggle. Some people just don't have the resources or the avenues to cope with their struggle, and it's magnified, it's intensified, it's increased. It's, what I'm saying, and you don't have, like, man, I preach this all the time. Like, the family structure is so broken. You don't have people in place to support when there is a lack. Like families argue, fight, and don't deal with each other over the most minute stuff. So now those aunts, uncles, grandmothers, cousins, those support systems that you have, that tight-knit unit that you have to lean on and to help each other, we broken because Lil Ray ain't paid me my $20.
Right. Nobody really knows the core of the story, but then when you find out what it is, it's like, what?
It's over $20. A family's broken up over $20. $100, whatever it is. Stop loaning people money that you are not ready not to get back. Right. Stop loaning money that you can't afford to lose. Period.
And stop asking to borrow money you can't pay back. How about that?
Don't ask me to borrow money if you know you can't pay me back. Ask me, can I have? I need.
Can you help me?
Can you help me? My light's about to cut off. Okay, I'm not handing you this money. I'm gonna log on the energy for you, and I'm gonna put something on this. I'm not putting this money in your hand.
Right.
It just is what it is. That's kind of accountability. But you don't come to me every month.
Broken community, y'all. And by way of watching these things happening on the streets with the police officers, by way of listening to the videos with all the Karens, by way of seeing our own actions in our faces via videos, we have to start figuring out what we can do collectively as a community and what we should be doing and what we need to stop blaming other people for. You know, like I said, this man was arrested behind a $20 bill in a store that owned by people who don't care about you. Because if they had any compassion at all, they said he looked like he was high and all this other different stuff, then compassion should have kicked in and said, instead of downing this brother, we gonna let this ride. It ain't like he came in there and took $1,200 worth of stuff. It ain't like he came in there and gave you $500 for a computer and bounced out. It was a $20 bill and he was buying a pack of cigarettes. So it's like, we need to address some things, stop making it a them problem, and look within ourselves and say, all right, you know what? They stupid, but they have a point. Let's fix it.
Yeah. And it's like there's some super woke people who get on my nerves. Like there's some super woke people who get on my nerves, but there are some people who are woke who have good ideas. They just don't know how to communicate that to the people who they're trying to get to understand their point of view. And until we start learning how to talk to each other, converse, have conversation,
right,
and not try to tell me what I should do or how I should do it or what I should be or how I should.
Again, thinking there's a one way to do everything. There's not a one way to do everything because, you know, like they say, ain't nothing new under the sun. So if it was only one way to do anything, then it wouldn't be all of us and all these different types of greatness that's going on. So let's kill that noise where we see certain things happening and then we got a label for it. You know what I'm saying? Stop thinking that there's one type of manhood and one type of womanhood and one type of way to be a good parent and all this other stuff. Okay, she don't want to whoop her child. She don't want to spank her child. All right, that's all fine and good. Is she stupid? No, she's doing it a different way. Now, her child start getting out of line. The first thing you do, go see, that's because you won't whoop her behind. You need to put someone up behind. Then you look, why don't you sit down and tell this mama look? Right. You know, I understand you want to do something different, but you got to find another way of discipline. Take the phone, take the tablet, you know, do some other things. Stop dogging people and dragging people and adding to the foolery we already have to fight outside of our own gates.
Give options, give solutions, options. We know the problems.
Yeah.
We know the problems.
We know the problems.
Especially in Louisiana, we know our educational system is trash. We know there's no community outreach. For the most part, there are people who are doing work, and I never want to discredit the people who are out there putting in work, who got boots on the ground and who are trying to help.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everything that helped, I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna get mad. Y'all know I don't kill it. But everything that was good for the Black community is the first thing that gets taken out of the budget when it's time for budget cuts. In schools, when you could go to school, get certified an electrician, plumbing, welding, all these trades that you could have got coming out of high school, they took those out of the high school and tried to force you to go to college or force you to go to a trade school. So they took all that. Some enrichment programs, all of some enrichment programs, they defunding those. All the way you could go and get a summer job and not be in the streets running wild and random, all the camps, all the free camps, all these things that help the Black community are the first things that they take out of the system. Yeah. Those are the first things that get cut, budget cut, extended free extended day. Those type of before school care, after school care, all those things that help the
I haven't seen a Boys and Girls Club of America, and I ain't heard that Big Brother and all that
All
stuff.
that,
I
they
haven't
take
heard
all that
any of that
away.
in
All that
years,
is gone.
decades since
And
I've heard
that
those
those
things.
are the things that kept kids focused, motivated, with some sense of pride, something to keep their minds occupied, where they weren't doing all this randomness. And now there's nothing. These kids have no
Sports.
direction, no hope. They try to take all the sports out of schools. They're trying to take all the art programs, band. I mean, there's nothing for these kids.
Right.
And the parents already are struggling to take care of a family. Now I'm losing my job because I can't leave my kid home alone. I gotta be home by this time. I can't find a job doing this. Who $10 an hour? Who's gonna be able to support a family on $10 an hour? This isn't happening. But once again, like I said, it all started a long time ago. It all got pushed back when we start kicking the father out of the house. We'll give it, ma'am, Miss Lady, we'll give you free housing. We'll let you stay in this house for $8, and we'll let you have $8 a month rent. We'll give you $1,000 worth of food stamps, but you can't buy anything healthy on it. I want you to buy all junk with it. Because at some point when you got $1,000 worth of food stamps, you ain't buying nothing but junk anyway. Because at some point to get it all spent out, either you're selling it or you're buying junk. And you can have all these things, but that man can't be here. Mm-hmm. He can't stay here. He can't help you. So now we've crippled you. So at that point, now the black woman, she's angry because the system is doing something for her man can't. It's taken care of because the system is not allowing that man to take care of his family.
And then we got I can do bad by myself.
And then now it's I can do bad by myself. Now I can be independent. There's nothing wrong with being strong and independent. Black women have always been strong and independent. Y'all not telling us nothing new.
I need to break in right there. Community wise, black women, from one black woman to another black woman. I'm sorry, AB, I cut him off again. If you own the system, you're not independent. Let's clear that noise up right quick. So it's a lot of community things that we need the spirit of certain things we need to break before we, move on a little bit further. Yeah, you may need those food stamps right now. Yes, you may need that housing assistance right now. Yes, you may need that WIC right now. There are a lot of things that we find ourselves in situations that we need right now, but it's not supposed to be a forever thing. It's not supposed to be a crutch. It's supposed to help you get to the next level, and you have to use those moments to get to the next level. And now I'm starting to see a lot of, if a man can't and won't and don't and have all this, then they can't be with me. Yet you're walking around with a Louisiana Purchase card in your wallet. Pump your brakes. Stop the presses.
Ooh, some toes.
Clear your mind.
Feet. They stepping on toes today.
And let's get this crap together. There are some things as a community that we need to get together, and we need to help one another figure it out. How can I help my sister understand she don't need to be on this, or she can get off of this if we just do this or that or the other? If we create a budget, if we stick to the budget, if we invest $5 in a stock, I can show you how to build your portfolio in some stocks. And, it ain't got to be, if you don't know how to do the stock market, how about a mutual fund? Let's put you some money over here and then let that money grow so that I can teach you that you don't have to be right here all the time or always.
We create situations that we fought others for. And I said, women, I have coworkers. We have conversations. I work around a lot of females. We have conversations, and I tell them a lot of the truth. Like black women, in some instances, you're your own biggest enemy. Like you have so much control over your life and your circumstances and your situations that we have to stop accepting certain things. We have to stop allowing certain things in to be done to you. Everybody needs love. Everybody wants companionship. Everybody wants to feel needed, wanted, desired. But at some point, you have to put your foot down and be like, sir, no, this is my standard.
Right.
Like this is my standard, and I'm not going to go below my standards. And
you know where that come from? You know where that come from? Black women, mama, mama these boys and all this stuff, and all along,
and daddy the girls. Let's not.
Daddy the girls, mama the boys to death, and now they out here with these women, and these women allowing certain things to go on that they don't need to allow to go on, just to be able to say, I'm with someone.
I don't need no other mama. I had
they
one.
Looking for a mama.
I had a mama,
but they looking
but a lot of these mamas are trying to. Because they
my king. I'm calling your son your king.
They had daddy issues.
You can call him a king, but he is not your king. Let's kill that noise.
They having daddy issues, and they trying to find the daddy that they missing in some of these men. They grab because they grab on to some things because they so desire for connection. Some women grab on to some things that they like. This man could be horrible, and this works both ways. This woman could be horrible. But they have this one thing that I see that reminds me of what I wanted from my mother or from my father. And we hold on to bad situations, bad relationships for the longest. We were just talking about this yesterday, talking about shout out Jonathan Coates. We gonna give him credit.
Shout him out.
Getting rid of your crowd and finding your crew. Like we have too many people just around us, just hanging on, just not providing anything positive into your life. They just feed negativity. They just feed misfortune. They feed drama. They feed foolishness into your life. You have to learn to get rid of these people, these spectators. We have to learn to get a group of people who are feeding into your life. And some of these people who you love are the ones who are feeding that negativity and that drama and that foolishness into your life, and it's going to hurt you to get rid of them, but you're going to have to step away.
Get away.
You're going to have to step away because you're not going to be able to step to the next level. You're not going to be able to have that greatness that's meant for you because you got this person with this noose around your neck that keeps dragging you back into this barrel. So at some point, we have to be self-accountable. That's where it starts. You have to start with being self-accountable. Right. When you start taking accountability for your own household, then you can start it starts with self. You start with self, then you go throughout your household. Once you start fixing your household, then you can start fixing communities. Like I can't be falling apart here and here and trying to go out here and give the community some, because I don't have it to give because I don't know how to give it. Right. Goes back to therapy.
Mailbag. Let's see.
Goes back to having something to talk about.
We got to fix our gaps. We have generational gaps as well, not just generational curses, not just community problems that we have kind of hit like domino effect. It just start one way and then it just trickle on around. But we have generational gaps as well because somewhere in my generation, we didn't teach the next generation what happened right here. Okay, so we have to start recognizing us. We got to see us as a community and then see what can we do to fix it. Stop getting mad every time somebody point a finger at something in the community. Because if you really think about it, what they're pointing at is there. So stop getting mad because some fool is trying to, down the community or talk about us or whatever the case may be. And just be like, you know what?
Okay. We have this problem.
We do have this problem.
We have this issue. Now, what we're going to do to fix it? But at the same time, that person who's pointing, when you start pointing at a situation or an issue, I want you to have a solution. Don't just tell me what's going wrong. I need you to have a solution when you come to me and say, well, y'all doing this. Well, okay, how we get it right?
Right.
What's your solution? Where is your thesis?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I need to know where you're coming from with a solution.
We are a set of people that like flash. So usually popularity wins our attention. The solution is not going to be in the popularity. The solution is going to be in the person who probably talks the least, who probably moves the slowest, who probably, is way under the radar.
No doubt.
Because that person 9 times out of 10 is sitting back and observing some 100%. Things and learning some things that the person that's popular isn't paying attention to, because the person that's popular, their mojo is being fed by all these other people in this amen corner and this peanut gallery and all this other stuff that they've lost track of what brought them to the popularity in the first place.
Get you some friends that know how to say no.
Yes, please. We have so many community loopholes, you know what I'm saying, going on, that we are great as a people. Oh, we got magic. But then we are horrible as a people. We've got like a black hole. So it's so many loopholes that we have to fix, and we need to recognize these things and be willing to fix these things. Like, look in the mirror, put our community in the mirror, and then take your gift and go help. You know what I'm saying? Take your gift and go help. The first thing that we have to do is figure out community finances. Stop running up behind other people with your dollar. Find your community and start planting your money in your community. Maybe the community you came from that you were able to get out of, maybe you need to go plant some dollars there. Maybe you and some friends need to get together and say, let's open up a savings account and we're going to all put some money in a savings account and we're going to go get a loan and we're going to buy up this block. I don't know what needs to happen, but that can definitely happen. We can figure some things out.
And another thing is your friends, the group of people that you hang with most often are most likely in the same situation you are. They're most likely on the same level you are. Y'all financial statuses are probably pretty much the same for the most part. Right. Some may make a little bit more, some may make a little bit less, but y'all all in that same mindset and realm. So having those conversations with each other about money and that, it's not helping. We're not providing the information to the people who actually need it. So in essence, you're really hoarding the information. You're not like our friends, all our friends, our group of friends, we're pretty much all on the same level. You know what I'm saying? So we're a benefit to each other because we uplift each other. We motivate each other to do more, and we can network. Yeah. But we have to learn how to provide that information to people who we know aren't on the level of status. Not saying we on some super high status to where we not in the struggle still as well, but we have to learn that we've learned some things. We've developed some resources. We've developed some ideas. We've developed some things that can help the person who's one level behind us or 2 steps behind us,
or just coming in and need to learn
to get equal.
Yeah, it's time to start reaching out to these babies. My 13-year-old, our 13-year-old,
it's hers today because she got in trouble at school.
We talk money with this child. We have Derek Chauvin trial talks with this child. We have people being stolen off the street talks, sex trafficking and all this stuff. We have these talks with this child. You understand what I'm saying? We have credit card talks with this 13-year-old kid, because that is where that starts. And if you see somebody who has a child and they don't quite have it together, that's your moment.
Right.
That's your teachable moment. You can teach the child and the parents,
And
whatever. It starts that young.
Teaching your children helps them teach the people who their peers, the people who they're around.
Right.
Like they can have these conversations with their friends. They can have these conversations with their peers, the people who they're around, the people who they see every day. And I tell people all the time, like when people talk about diversity, but let's be honest, most humans are, especially blacks,
they're tribal.
We're tribal. Mm-hmm. So we go to black schools. We live in communities where there are people that look like us because that's what we feel comfortable. That's who we can relate to. So at the end of the day, those are the people who you see on a day-to-day basis. So those are the people you have familiarity with to be able to help, because we're just tribal. We migrate to our own. I mean, it just is what it is.
And it's not to block other people out. It's just nature, just the nature of attraction, the law of attraction. It just happens. But we just have to start focusing on things that we can fix. There are things that we can fix, but a lot of us are choosing not to fix them,
right,
and then talking about it in a negative manner whenever it shows its face. So that thing right there, we have to fix. I have seen Black people, back to the Chauvin trial, I have seen some Black people make negative comments about George Floyd being on drugs. The man he got addicted to opioids through pain. So you can't judge everybody's struggle like you just going, like this man out here doing heroin and crack and all these other things. But the crazy
thing is, you're seeing those same Black folks judging George Floyd, but they Uncle Willie been on dope.
Yeah, Uncle Willie.
He been on drugs, or he been an alcoholic his entire life. And it's funny, it's entertaining.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When it's in your family, you're laughing at him at the cookout. That's entertaining. Oh, he just crazy. You know what I'm saying? We label everybody crazy. Everything we label everybody crazy. A lot of us have mental health issues. Undiagnosed mental health issues. PTSD. Like growing up Black will give you PTSD. I mean, we should all automatically be able to get medical marijuana for PTSD as Black people. Like, yeah, the medical marijuana.
Straight there? Okay.
Straight there. As Black people. I mean, it should be in. We shouldn't even need a prescription.
Part of your reparations?
Get part of my reparations. Right. Yeah, because PTSD. If y'all have questions, because we done went off on our community tangent, and y'all know how we get sometimes. So if y'all have a question or something y'all want us to talk about or say, put a comment in the chat box, be it YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are. We'll see it. We'll comment. We try to answer some questions. But yeah, it's.
You said that, but somebody.
I am. But my thoughts go quick. I got to get them while I got
that bag. Okay. Let's catch the mail bag. Let's stay on track, because he'll take us and we'll be somewhere down the river.
That's right.
Sitting at the dock of the bay.
My Mimi over here, she say, that's right, young folks, listen up. In my day and times, parents taught you things, but not about business things like how to pay bills or how to spend your money. Just because you can afford it doesn't mean you have to pay high dollar for it. Teach them how to be dependent on themselves. You won't always have someone to have your back. That's true. That's we're not teaching. We have become punk ass parents where we've been trying not to become our parents, and be trying to become our kids' friends. We are their parents. We can be friendly with them, but we're not their friends. And we have to learn to teach them the things that our parents instilled in us, the things that they knew. Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that our parents didn't know. They weren't privy to because their parents didn't know.
They didn't know.
So they can't be taught something that they didn't know. So the things that they did learn, that they passed on to us, we should be passing those things on to our kids on top of the things that we've learned on our own to our kids.
And setting them up to be able to.
Setting them up for success.
Set them up to be able to say, we have a bad habit of sheltering our children. Black families, we have a bad habit of sheltering our kids because we know the world ain't fair, on the other side.
They need to know that.
But they need to know, they need to have instruction. They need to have, a formula. And so that when they get out there and they come in contact with something, that they have the tools to break it down and work it out like a math problem. They need to be able to know the formula and say, okay, this is that. I need to plug that in here. This is that. I can plug that in here. And then, all right, bang, I can work it out this way instead of automatically falling back and say, Mom, Dad, my car note, my this, my that. Hey, I gave you the formula. I taught you how to do it. Now you figure it out. Because if you didn't have me, what you gonna do?
My son, like CJ, the oldest boy, he's still gonna say his oldest sister is the baby, and that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. But he went off to college. Mm-hmm. And when he went out to Texas to go to Houston, go off to college, I wasn't being that, okay, you 18, you're no longer my responsibility, Dad. But I was giving him an understanding that I need to give you some room to grow, to,
figure
it out.
Yeah.
Like, it's some things you can teach, you can tell. We had conversation about a lot of stuff, but at the same time, it's some stuff he has to learn on his own. We can't protect these kids from everything. It's going to be a lot of things that they have to learn on their own. There's some things they're going to have to fall on their face about.
And some stuff they're going to have to do without.
They're going to have to do without. And he used to message me and say, Dad, I need, $50 here or whatever. And I used to be like, son, you're going to school for free, you got a Pell Grant, you get a check at the beginning of the semester, you're living for free, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I ain't got it today. He slick her though. He message her and she'll send him the money. But that's the thing. We have to be on one accord as parents when it comes like that. Whether we're in the same household or not, you have to learn to put aside your petty indifferences.
Where we at in the time?
117.
Okay.
You put aside your petty differences for the betterment of your children. And it's
time to let some bitterness go. Yeah. Our community is blocked up also because there's a lot of bitter people in it. We bitter at our parents because our parents didn't treated us this way. We bitter at the baby mama because the baby mama acts this way. We bitter at the baby daddy because the baby daddy acts this way. And then it all trickles down to these children. And then we have these little bad attitude kids because the adults in the system are bitter and don't realize that their bitterness is spoiling the whole pie. Like there ain't nothing sweet no more. Everything's bitter now. All the bitterness is spilling out. And we sit up and we have these bitter conversations around these babies that we shouldn't be having. All these things, like we got to figure out how to address or identify, then address, then create a solution for the stuff that's going on in our community. Because we're starting to see this, whether you agree or not, the foolishness that we deal with in our community that goes unchecked is starting to look back at us by way of our children being lying dead in the street. It just is what it is, or being mishandled in the street by the other persuasions. Because the foolishness they see, the imagery they see, it starts with the stuff that we let slide under the rug. It starts with the stuff that we desensitize ourselves to because it's just their generation. No. Let's identify these things and figure out where you fit. What's your gift? How can you help? Because every one of us have a gift that we can use that gift to help in some sort of way. We can help, So it's just one of those things with our community. It's time to start identifying some things. Like we said, the money situation, we've got to start doing some better things with our money. most communities have all the triggers that they have because it's wherever the money lies. You know what I'm saying? We have seen other persuasions. These kids grow up and do some of the dumbest stuff, and the first thing we say is they ain't even had that to do. They've been given everything, and they still went out there and did this. It's the money level usually is the basis and what sparks all the issues in certain communities. Either you got too much money and you're not training your child that money ain't free and you do have to be responsible and you do need to earn it and you can't just act a certain way just because there is money, or the child is messed up because they don't have any money in the house and there's struggles going on and all these different things. Money is at the root of a lot of these issues. And we have got to start helping one another figure out what's best to do with our money, how to move our money around, how to teach somebody how to grow their money versus making yourself look like you have money. People who, the richest people in the world, you see them on the street, y'all don't even understand. Louisiana, Baton Rouge, we have homes, we have neighborhoods in Baton Rouge that you don't even know are there. They are literally secret society type neighborhood. And if you're not a delivery person, you don't even know that neighborhood is in Baton Rouge. For real. And that's one of the gifts of being a hairstylist and coming in contact with all types of different people and these private Amazon deliverers who are going into these neighborhoods, got to have a code. And it's like, wait a minute, it's a neighborhood behind a neighborhood behind a neighborhood. Where that came from? It's money here, you know, is what you're being exposed to or not, first of all. But there's money here. It's time to figure out what we can do with our money. It's people walking around that you never know have the type of money that they have, but you walking around looking like you're richer than them. We have got to figure out what to do with our money. Let's start there. Let's be more responsible. I know we want to have nice stuff. Everybody wants to have nice stuff. It's not.
It's in our DNA. We're spiritual. It's in our spirit. I mean, back home, we used to dress nice, gold and jewels.
That's back home though.
We had it.
We ain't there.
But it's just in us. We like to look nice, feel good,
flashy,
smell good. We flashy. We all that. But we have to learn how to do things in moderation.
Got to learn how to do things in moderation. We got to learn that it's okay to do what you got to do until you can do what you want to do. Like some of us need to adopt that type of mind frame and stop thinking that it's supposed to come so fast, and it is not going to come that fast all the time. It's some sacrifices and stuff that need to be made that people aren't willing to make. You know, some people see, you know, the things that we just released as by way of our products and stuff, and I have no idea all the years that went into those things before you see what you see. Those that are looking, you don't have a clue, but it's understanding that things come with time and patience. It's not going to be a microwave situation. We have to stop doing this instant gratification thing, you know, and that's not just a community. That's just people, period. Stop looking for instant gratification. It's not going to come. I'm a hairstylist, and now I'm in the generation where the girls going to prom in $400 and $500 dresses, and I'm just like blown away. Like the child herself is worth $1,000 to $1,500 by way of hair, makeup, dress, shoes, jewelry, clothes, just her appearance. They stepping out and worth $1,000 that day for a night. And they go to prom for a couple of hours. They take some $30 pictures and then they disappear. Like, come on, folks. Like, come on. Like, yeah, I want my child to be beautiful for her prom. I want her to have, but it's a line. I'm not paying $400 for no prom dress. I'm sorry. Nyla, wherever you are in the house, I'm not paying $400 for a prom dress. Period. I'll go find my mama them lace tablecloth and get to a sewing machine
There she go.
before I pay $400 for a prom dress. I mean, come on. It's some stuff that we as a community, we got to start owning some things that we have just really let get a little too far.
We tried, so many tried to do for their kids what they didn't have for themselves that they wanted, and they're doing their children a disservice.
Yeah.
We we did our community. We talked about the money. We talked about Chauvin, the trial. Y'all, what else going on that we ain't get to touch? DMX, y'all.
Another
R.I.P.
DMX. Sickness. That man had
the
struggles.
Man. We watched this man battle his demons his entire career. Like, we saw it live in person on TV. We saw him on celebrity boot camps, marriage reality shows. We've seen documentaries.
Talking to his orchids.
We've seen him put his heart and his troubles in his music. And that's with money. Like that's making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he still struggled. So just imagine those of us who are fighting those same demons who don't have the financial resources he had. Like,
and don't know where to go to get the help, because there are resources.
Where to go to get the help. And it's so many people. Anybody know me know DMX is like one of my top 5 rappers all time, period. So it's like there, and it's amazing to see there's so many celebrities around him that were like, we saw, we love him this and that, love him that. And even then, as a community, I'm not in those circles, so I don't know what all they did or didn't do. But it's still like,
did you do
how much did you guys do to help? You saw these struggles. You saw these struggles, and it's some things we just can't help with. Like, and so
some things got so far that it broke, and it was no way to put it back together. It was like a Humpty Dumpty situation, and at that point, that's where the prayer kick in.
But it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things that if you saw the Rough Riders documentary, and listen to him tell his story, the things that he went through as a child, the being homeless, the being a friend lacing his drugs when he was a little boy, that kicked off him to spiraling down this the path, and he still was so talented, so great at what he did. And it's so unfortunate that we see so many of our great entertainers, musicians, athletes, whatever it may be, some of the most talented people on the planet have some of the biggest demons and biggest struggles. Like, DMX.
It's not all in the money. We saw Michael Jackson,
R. Kelly.
We saw a lot of people struggle right in front of our faces. They just had a former football player, Philip, I can't think of his last name, Adams, that killed 5 people from CTE.
The 6th person died yesterday.
Oh, wow. And then turned the gun on himself. So it's not all the answers aren't in just being rich. You know what I'm saying? But it's in, first of all, fixing these things that start in the community. Like, a lot of these people were broken at home first, and then they got some money, and then it was money to feed the problem.
Money to feed the demon. Like, there was no support system with no real help. Like, people don't realize how important a support system is. A hug, or I love you, a smile, or how can I help you, what's going on, a call or check in. I've been doing it with our me and a group of my partners. We have a group chat, and I got this from another podcast that I watch, and we do check on your people, y'all. Check on your people. Like, do mental health checks. How are you? How's your mental? How's your finance? How's your personal life? Like, how are you? Like,
do you need some help?
Do you need something? Make people
you need to
make
take a ride
tell
and
you
talk
where they are,
and just sit in silence and listen to some music and don't say nothing. Do we need to do that? You know,
and don't always be so quick to try to solve problems. Some people just need somebody to listen. They just need somebody to vent to. Like, they just need somebody to hear them. Like, do mental health checks on your people. Do wellness checks on your people. Get out of this pettiness. Get out of this, whatever this is that you in beef with your family member, your friend, or whatever it is. It ain't worth it, man. It's not worth it. Life is so short. Stuff happens so fast. We have lost so many great people in the black community between 2020 and right now in 2021. Some of our greatest athletes, some of our greatest musicians, actors, entrepreneurs, just great, genuine people.
Yeah.
And it was moments where they all just felt lonely. Like, people battle with depression and nobody reaches out. Like, start reading up, learn how to recognize the signs of some of these things. Stop writing everybody off as just being crazy. Stop trying, people need help. And some people don't. Pride is a mother. And some people don't know how to ask for help. So you need to learn how to just be there. Just reach out. Just check on your people, y'all. Just check on your people.
Have some peace in the process. I mean, a lot of us skip peace. We skip peace. Peace is a big deal. And some of us self-sabotage. Some of us sabotage our own peace because we're not used to having peace. And when things are quiet and still and calm, you get nervous and feel like something foolish need to be going on,
Some people thrive in dysfunction.
Yeah, we got to start breaking these generational curses that our community deals with. We got to find a way to fix some of these things. Like, if it don't bring you peace, you need to understand that something's wrong with that picture. If it's gonna be a problem, is if your blood pressure gonna raise up a little bit, your eye gonna twitch, your lip gonna get big. Like, if these things are happening to you, and let it go. If these are some of the physical things that you see happening to yourself, let that go.
One of our commenters here to say, sometimes we try to help others as much as possible, but we can't do it alone. It truly takes a village. Otherwise, we may lose ourselves individually. We have to give and use discernment so we don't destroy ourselves in the process of helping others. That's 100% true. Like, that's why we were talking about earlier, getting rid of the crowd and finding your crew. Like, I have people. Like, I have my wife. My wife is my rock. That's my leaning post. But at the same time, it's my backbone. There's some things that you need other people. Like, stop getting in this mind frame that only one person or one place you go for help. You may need multiple avenues. Like, it's certain things that I can talk to my wife about everything, but there's certain things I need to hear another person's ear, because a lot of times she's in this situation with me. She's in this spot. So I need a distraction. I need somebody. I have friends that when I'm feeling this type of way, or I have this certain type of thing going on, I have different friends for different things that I can pull that good energy from, that I can pull. I know I'm going to get a good word. I know I'm going to get good advice. I know I'm going to get what I need in that moment from where I am. So sometimes we need to, even as married couples, we need to separate ourselves from each other sometimes and be amongst people who can feed into us. You know what I'm saying? Don't be foolish to think we all need relationships, and there's a different relationship for every situation and every circumstance. So you need we're all connected. Mm-hmm. And God has placed all us in each other's lives for a reason and a purpose. So everybody around you has a purpose. Some of those purposes are to teach you don't need that person. It's to teach you some lessons. Right. It's to help you build some calluses.
How to see a
how to
particular
deal
type
with
of
things,
how to identify a particular type of spirit and recognize it moving forward.
exactly. So, and some people are there to feed that energy. So you're there for somebody else. You're that person that gives them that get up and go. You're that person that motivates them, that moves them, that makes them say, okay, I can keep going. Some things you go through, other people around you see, that lets them know, hey,
I can move.
I can make it.
Yeah.
You know, I watch this.
And you may never know they're watching.
And you may never know you're watching. They're watching. So don't be so blocked off. Don't be so guarded. I mean, God has given you discernment for a reason. You know when people don't mean you no good, and sometimes you have to go through it with those people who don't mean you no good to teach you a lesson that's for somebody else. Everything you go through is not for you, but you have to be open-minded. You have to be open. We've become so closed off and guarded from each other that we're not loving on each other. We're not presenting that good energy, that love that everybody needs. Everybody is frowned up. Everybody's mad at each other. Everybody is looking for the negative or the wrong in the persons, in the people that they're dealing with. That we're forgetting that a lot of people have a lot of good, a lot of love, a lot of respect. Let's get back to loving and respecting each other. Respect for sure. I don't need you to love me unconditionally. I got some people who love me. I got plenty of love, but we need to get some more compassion and respect for each other. And that's a big issue. Like someone else is saying here, some adult bodies still housebroken children. That's a word that's gonna preach.
Come on.
We might have to pass the collection plate after that. There
It's
are
the
some
truth.
adult bodies that are still housebroken.
We have some warriors, and inside those warriors, if you take the armor back, it's a child. If you pull the armor away, there's a child up under that armor. It's again, growing up in a house, we as parents are responsible for these little people. And some of us are breaking these kids and then sending them out in the world and letting them mingle with other people. And we're sending our problems out to other people. Like whatever you're doing with your son right now may eventually end up bothering my daughter. And that is the mindset and mind frame that we have to, that's where the community begins, in the house. So we want to fix our community. Let's fix your unit first. Like, recognize you're not right all the time. Recognize you mess up. Recognize you don't have all the answers, and be willing to hear and seek, for information. Some of us are so tied up in what we think we know. And then if we just read a little bit or listen to some other people or do a little research, we find out quickly that, oh, wait, I didn't know this could be from this. I didn't know that me saying this to my child could be causing this type of ripple effect. I didn't know that not coming home from work and going shut up in my room because I'm tired and I ain't seen my child all day, and then I go and sit up in my room and close up in my room and I'm tired, and I'm just thinking my child ought to know I'm tired because I've been at work, and not realizing your child now is feeling neglected, and the feeling that leaves with that kid because you are not taking just a simple moment to decompress yourself, yes, but then go back out and mingle with your children, mingle with your husband or wife. You know what I'm saying? The community begins in the house. And then when these people go out into their individual areas, your child go to their school, the other child go to their school, you go to your job, your husband or wife go to their job, or whatever spouse you have go to the other job. That's where the community is right there, right? That's out in the public, right? But it's who I am, what I'm presenting to the public, that creates the activity of the community, right?
Right.
So
they will be what they see.
Yeah, it's we have to be ready, willing, and able. Willing is the biggest hurdle of all of it. To identify the issues and then be ready and willing to fix those issues. Stop thinking you know everything. Stop thinking you're right with everything. Stop thinking the way you think it is the way it should be, because that is the furthest from the truth. Okay, stop thinking that the way Big Mama told you is the way it is. No, my husband has a saying that I laugh at all the time, but when you think about it, it is so true. His saying is traditions is just dead people telling you what to do.
That's it.
You know, some traditions are great because some traditions are good family building units, good family building techniques and things like that. But understand that you should not be just like former generations. In 2021, your life should not be a perfect replica of what your great grandmother was. That was their time. That was their generation. Different things were going on, and their education level wasn't the same. They couldn't read, a lot of them, things like that. So if you walking around and your life look just like mama and all of them, there's a problem.
For a nickel.
There's a problem. You know what I'm saying? So we have to be able to evolve with the times, first of all, and stop thinking because your mama did it this way, that's the way you're supposed to be doing it too. That's the furthest thing from the truth. That is so far from the truth. And we are killing our communities for not being willing to identify the issue and do what's necessary to fix the issue. Because obviously it's an issue because you don't know what you're doing. It wouldn't be an issue if you knew what you were doing. It wouldn't be broken if you already knew how to fix it. So obviously it's broken. Now seek the fixer. Fix it, find the solution. So, we just, as a community, we have to really, my thing is, some people have gotten so far away from God, it's ridiculous. God never moved though. You understand what I'm saying? So that's my thing. That might not be where you are, but for me, God never moved. What happened? God to me anchors my life. Okay, so for me, it's God. For you, it may be something else. But at the end of the day, I would urge you all to turn to God, especially at this time. Just go read Revelation one good time. Read it from front to back, beginning to end. Read it one time. And then talk to me later about who God is and who he is not. And the white Jesus, black Jesus, all these other things. Y'all, whatever, I don't care where you're at in all of this, something has to anchor you. And it can't be you. Because you are faulty.
And I tell people all the time, everything everybody does, unless you just believe in nothing, which is highly unlikely.
Right.
Everybody has a belief system that supports them, that strengthens them, that helps them endure, that helps them move. Whether you believe in it, whether it's your science or Scientology, evolution, whatever it is, somebody has a belief system. But at the end of the day, all those belief systems are rooted in a higher power. Regardless if you want to admit it or believe it or not, even science is just the explanation of a higher power. Because there's so many things in science that you can't explain and that you can't understand, no matter how hard you try. That should let you know. But we're not preaching, we're just saying everything is rooted in some type of belief system. And as I always say, if whatever you believe in is not rooted in love, respect, and truth, you need to find something else to believe in.
Yeah.
So we didn't try to get 3 weeks in.
We decompressed up in here.
We didn't had a decompression session up in here tonight.
Did we miss anything? I don't want to miss anybody that said something that we needed to catch. I'm glad. Thank y'all for joining us, and thank y'all for hanging with us this whole time.
Hour and 45 with us today. Yeah, we over, but it's good. It's good. It's well.
We'll preach next Monday. Don't join us next Monday if you ain't trying to hear the gospel truth, because that next Monday, some of that's gonna come out. Because as far as I'm concerned, not our community definitely needs to get back there.
And next week we're gonna try. I want to try to get another couple on with us, or another group of friends on with us next Monday. So if anybody who's listening wants to be a part of the show next week, y'all can email us on at passingforperfect@gmail.com. Y'all can message us on the Facebook page, Passing for Perfect. If you have our personal Instagram pages, you can find me at CG is on one, on the number one on Instagram. You can find her at Cosmetology1 with the KY. On Instagram, you can find us on Cosmo Life Products. On Instagram,
pick an inbox.
Just pick an inbox. We'll be there. We'll get there. We'll reach out to you. And if you want to join in, if you have some you want us to talk about, we open to talk about anything. We're open book. Anybody who knows us. We try to remain honest, upfront, and real. What you see when you see us, whether you see us at church, at work, at home, out and about, we try to be those same people. I posted it today on Facebook. You see a lot of fake people on Facebook posting about people being fake. Some of the fakest people post about being fake all the time. But that's a whole nother conversation. But once again, I want to thank you all for joining us on Passing for Perfect. Go to the YouTube page, like, subscribe. That's Passing for Perfect on YouTube. Share. You can share our page on Facebook, Passing for Perfect on Facebook.
Cosmo Life Products on Facebook.
Cosmo Life Products on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
You can also
on Instagram.
CosmoLifeBR.com is our website. Our newest product is now on the website. For you ladies who love your pedicures, we have pedi flops available online. We have our all natural products online. So like, share, subscribe. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Love somebody. Please. Be good to somebody. Till next time.
And be willing to listen.
Listen.
Please.